Welcome to the Sharpe Voice Show. I am so happy to have you with me this evening. A little bit past 7 p.m. on the East Coast. I kind of made it, kind of not. I kind of made it at 7 p.m. on the East Coast. I appreciate it. I was away for a couple of days running around New York. Some of you might have seen me up there doing my best to make things happen. It has not been, it was very challenging to make that happen. I did 4 events. I actually hosted a radio talk show host, the amazing Bob Lonsberry out of Syracuse, New York. So that was kind of interesting. I'm glad for those of you who were able to see me do that. That was kind of cool. I enjoyed that piece. It's an AMA, and I couldn't really do a show on July 4th. So I figured I'd do a show one day after. And talk about things that I think are kind of important right now, which is, what are we actually celebrating on July 4th? And I get that it's pro-America. I'm pro-America, obviously. I mean, literally an American flag here. Veteran. Of course, I love my country. But what are we actually celebrating? And I don't think that's always as easy for us to understand, right? What are we actually celebrating? What part of this should we be jumping up and down about? Now, I know we just say, well, look, you should be proud of being American. I'm happy I'm an American, but we have to be proud of actually doing something, what we've been achieving, if that makes any sense. And there are many things that America's awesome with. Absolutely true. We have a lot of great things that we've been working on, and I'm very proud of. But we should be talking about the things that we've achieved. We shouldn't be talking about we're just proud to be American. And as weird as that sounds, I really mean it. I talk about it with kids all the time. Kids, we tell our kids, oh, I'm so proud of my kid. I'm so proud of my kid because he's born. She's born. So I'm proud. You should be proud because you're born. No, you should be proud because you did stuff. Now, I do know. So, Larry, look, we went to the moon. True. Larry, we won World War II. True. These are things we should be proud of. But we also have to think about, what are we proud of now? We can't live on our laurels. And that's the piece I really want to bring up. We can't live on our laurels. We can't sit here and just go, well, we were, great 50 years ago or whatever, and now we're still going to, no, we've got to keep doing great. Now, we have, to be fair. I'm not one of those people who hates America at all. But I don't want us to just say America's awesome because America. America's awesome for a couple things. Number one, people still keep rushing here. Right? That's the piece that is the most proudful for me, right? I have German ancestry. People aren't rushing to Germany. I mean, some people out of certain countries are because it's better than where they are. But as a general rule, people aren't rushing to Germany. Refugees go to Germany because Germany will take them. Yes. But people aren't going, where I want to go? Germany. That's not a thing. Hardly any are going to the UK. They're leaving the UK in droves. They're bailing from the UK. Where are they going? To America. So a lot of places people are leaving, right? Not all, obviously. But no country gets more people who want to be here than us. We're the one with the massive non-refugee immigration problem. We have that too. Absolutely, we have that also. But compared to other countries, we really do have that advantage. People want to come here. That's something to be proud of. It is. We are still, generally speaking, compared to others, still the world, the world's place where people want to come. That is shining city on the hill. Not as shiny as we could be. It's true. But I think that we really are something that there is some pride that we should have here. There really is. And don't get me wrong. I complain all the time about our government. But it's a second piece here. This is one of the only countries on the planet, to where if you live here 20 years, whatever the number is, people treat you like an American. They go, you okay? You're one of us. As long as you come here and say, I want to work hard and be an American, people go, okay, you're one of us now. It's fine. You don't have that someplace else. And in my city, New York City, this is the most. You live here for 5 years. And you're basically a New Yorker. That's kind of how things work, right? Our mayor, soon-to-be mayor, looks like was born in Uganda, right? That's like a thing here in New York. Like, that's kind of stuff that we do. So I really think that part of us being as accepting is important. Not just that. We have probably immigrants. We do. But you will not find a country on this planet, not one, that is better at assimilating immigrants. There's not one. And we are not perfect. Not perfect at all. But you will not find a country better than us in assimilating and accepting immigrants. Not a country better. None better. Again, not perfect. You cannot find a nation better than us. We're the best at that. Not just that. We have our problems too, of course, but still, we still innovate. Somehow, with as broken as our government is, we still innovate. We still are the most innovative country on the planet still to this day. I don't know how, but we still do it. We still do it. Through all of this, we still do it. Through all of our debt, we still have a better economy than Europe. I don't know how we do it, but we do. There are some great things about America, and we should be proud, but not just America, F yeah, not just that. That's one thing, but we should be proud of many things that we have achieved and who we are. It is important. And I'll go one step further. Even though we often ignore our Bill of Rights, God, we ignore it so often. At least we have it. A lot of nations do not have a Bill of Rights. They don't have a First Amendment that we tend to ignore all the time. They don't have a Second Amendment that we ignore all the time. They don't have that. At least we have a basis of this, right? And the point that I brought up before and I want to bring up now, our Bill of Rights, while we have absolutely taken a steaming pile crap on it more than once, it exists. And because it exists, people can look to it. And because we have at least a culture of valuing it, we can look back at it, right? Yes, we treated women poorly in the past. True, we have. Yes, treated minorities poorly in the past. True, we have. But how could we fix that? Because people looked at that and said, you know what? We kind of got to do that because that's in our Bill of Rights. We kind of got to give these people rights. I mean, we don't want to, obviously, but I think we kind of have to. So, yeah, maybe we kind of have to. So we will. So, yeah. Daniel says, Bill of Permission Slips. True, yes. But at least we have them. I'm not going to sit here and screw America perfect. I'm not. Not going to screw America perfect. But I am going to say, America's still pretty damn good. America's still reason to be proud to be American. There's reasons to be embarrassed. Absolutely. But July 4th should be a day where we look back and go, what are we proud of? And I think there are many things for us to be proud of. I think there really are. I think we should be proud of what we've been achieving. And I'll go another step. As much as I am unhappy with some of the people who have come into power, particularly when we're looking at people who are like socialists and such, as everyone's talking about, at a minimum, we're not falling into violence over that. Where in many countries we would be. So I'll add that piece as that too. So yeah, there's something that there's an advantage to that. Again, not perfect, but still pretty damn good. So that's my quick rant on America. I'm still proud to be American. I'm happy that we're 249 years old. Is that about right? I think it's how old we are now. Looking pretty good for 249. Surviving, moving forward. There's some hope out there, even though there's some problems. Let me grab some comments and some questions if I could. Vivek, how are you, sir? Vivek says, founding fathers will be disappointed with the duopoly and the military-industrial complex. Also probably insane taxation and spending. Larry, I hope you're right that we can get happiness and equal rights under law. Well, I'm going to touch all of those. You're right. Our founders would never, we would have already gone to war. Already. There would have already been a second civil war. You're correct. The idea that we would have political parties like this, literally our founders said, don't do this. This would be a disaster. Don't do this. They told us, Washington said, don't do this. And we went, psh, what do you know? First president of the United States, what do you know? He knew it all. He knew it all. So yeah, no, I completely, yeah, I agree. They've not like that at all. Not just that, military complex. Washington told us, stay out of the treaties. So much of our problems that we have across the globe today is because we got involved in the World War I. I'm not joking. People don't talk about it enough. It is absolutely. One guy who talks about it often is the one guy on Breaking Point's Sagar Enjeti. He gets it. World War I, we should have never got involved. left that alone. That was one of the worst things we could have possibly done. And of course, during that time period, what else did we do? Income tax, and of course, also Federal Reserve. That was the end. All the problems we're having now started in 1913, 1914, 1950, right in that area. That was the worst time for us. And that wrecked so much of what now. You're right. We should have never done that. There is no, remember, people who hate the Second Amendment, Vivek, will always say, well, you can't, like, people can't own these great weapons. During those days, again, I say this all the time, people owned battleships. That was a thing. They were called privateers. That was a thing. They'd have a, what's it called? A letter of marque, whatever it was called. I think they would use. And the government would basically hire these people. They'd hire your battleship. Oh, we have to go to war now. Hey, Vivek, we need your battleship. Okay, yeah, you can have it. I want X, gold coins or X dollars per week or month or whatever was the deal. And yeah, well, I got the crew. We'll go. Who are we fighting? Done. That's how it worked. So yes, that was a thing. They would never have had this. A standing army. Why do you think we have a Third Amendment? We have a Third Amendment to stop standing armies. That's why we have a Third Amendment. For that reason, we don't want standing armies in civilian areas. That's why we have the Third Amendment. You're totally correct. This is absolute garbage. Yes. And you're saying, I hope you're right that we can get happiness and equal rights under the law. I hope so, true. I hope so. Yes, do. Yes. Alrighty. Kim says, many are celebrating what they are engineered to believe we should celebrate. Ooh, true. I personally believe this disaster is no call for celebration. This disaster. Which disaster? Do you mean the disasters? Isn't there a disaster in Texas? I'm sorry. I was out the whole day, but maybe. Kim says, all goes on. Vivek, it looks more and more like many get the rights they take and don't care who they take those rights from. I wish you were wrong, Kim, yet again. Yes. Biquote says, Biquote says, Anti-Imperialism Day. I like that. Kim goes on to say, off subject, no such thing as AMA Day. But wouldn't it be more fair to at least use the number of legally registered voters in a given state to determine electoral votes a state is entitled to, opposed to the census count? Here's the problem, Kim. I think you're correct. However, there is precedent that does not do that, right? You are correct. I think that would be better, but there's precedent. And not just that, the Constitution isn't clear on how it's on what it says. So two things. One, the precedent was, of course, slavery. Slaves, if you remember, everyone I'm sure remembers the 3/5 compromise. The South said, well, we have people. And then I said, no, you don't. You said they're property. They ain't people. You get nothing for that. That's property, you told me. Those slaves, it's not people. They don't get to vote. No, they're not people. They're properties. You told me. Oh, no. They're people. Okay, so they can vote. No, they're slaves. They're property. Which one is it? And so the South said, okay, we're going to have a problem here. So they made the 3/5 compromise. Every slave counted as 3/5 a person, right? Most of you know that story, right? So that right there is the precedent to say a person or illegal or whatever you want to call it, non-citizen, does have some power here in electoral votes. That's the precedent. If that makes any sense. Now, you may agree or disagree, but it's not out of nowhere. There is a precedent. Second piece, the Constitution doesn't say citizen. I think it says population or people. I forgot the word, but it does not say citizen. So since the Constitution doesn't say citizen, a court has to decide that it does mean citizen, but it can't mean citizen if 3/5 of a slave was counted. Were they citizens? They weren't because they couldn't vote. Oh, were they citizens? Well, they weren't until the 14th Amendment. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying there is clearly a gray area there for people to make a decision on that. And I think you're going to see one coming up soon. In my opinion, Kim, if I was a judge, I would vote as you say. I think it should be, I wouldn't say registered voters. I would actually just say citizens, period. Because I don't think you have to register to vote, right? Registered voters up to it's a choice. You can make if you don't want to, you don't have to, but you still count because you're paying taxes. So I would just say any adult citizen is what I would, if it were up to me, it's not, but if it was, it would be adult citizen. That is what I would say. Adult citizen is what I would count when it comes to the electoral votes. That will be my choice. But again, as I mentioned, it is not clear. So hope that makes sense. Duke, thank you for the $5, my friend. I'm a proud American, but don't know how to reconcile the fact that our ancestors killed an estimated 15 million natives from 1492 to 1900 to create a country. Now, to be clear, we didn't kill them all. Disease killed most of them. So you can count us as the reason, yes, but it also wasn't just us. It was also the Spaniards. The Spaniards did a whole lot worse than we did. If you count us as being from our father, the British Empire, right? If you count us as being English when it comes to colonies, the Spanish did far worse than we did. I mean, far worse. By magnitudes worse than we did, and disease did a lot of it. Not saying we didn't do our part. We definitely did our part. I agree. But the second thing, remember, is a whole lot of people who came before us weren't even here in America at the time, right? Like, I mean, who are here now? Our ancestors weren't even here during that time, right? Mine might have been. My German ancestors weren't. They were in Germany. My black ancestors might have been here, but if they were enslaved. So they weren't doing any killing at all. So mine weren't part of that either way. So mine were either in Germany or they were enslaved, one or the other. So I don't really have that one, but I get your point. But the second piece, though, is to be forward. And this is not to be cruel at all. The reality of it at that point in time, particularly in the 1500s, conquering was the way of the world. I mean, it still kind of is, but nowhere near to what it used to be. Conquering was the way of the world. Nations were all built on conquest. I'm not trying to take away anything that happened. I'm just saying you have to judge people by their peer group, if that makes any sense, right? The Aztecs were conquering people. The Mayans then? No. Mayans were first or Aztecs were first? No, Aztecs were first. So Mayans were there, right? Mayans. I always swap the Aztecs and Mayans. Which ones were first? I think the Mayans were I think the Mayans were here, right? No. Aztecs were here. Mayans were first, then Aztecs. Someone's going to correct me on this one. But yes, but they were conquering too. Most people don't know this. The Japanese aren't native to their islands. They're not. They have a native Japanese population called the Ainu. The Ainu are their Indians, right? Whatever you call. And they conquered them and pushed them up to their most northern island, the island of Hokkaido. And the island of Hokkaido still has Ainu populations on it. That's it. It's basically like we pushed our Eskimos into Alaska. That's what the Japanese did. They pushed theirs into their most northern island, the island of Hokkaido. So it's everywhere, right? It's everywhere. I don't mean to dismiss it. I'm just saying that's how I deal with it, Duke. You asked, that's how I do. Daniel, thank you for the $5. If the founding fathers were here today, they would regret the decision to start a revolution, knowing what we are today. Ooh. Would they regret it? I don't think they would regret the revolution. I don't. Because I think they would still have thought they did it right. I think they would be disappointed in what we did with it. And I think they'd be right to be disappointed. We, as I say many times, we took over empire from the British Empire. We became what we hated most, right? All the time, my joke is the same all the time, right? We left the British Empire going, I'm not going to be like you, Dad. I'm going to be different. I'm not going to be about the empire. I'm going to be about life and liberty instead of happiness. You're mean. And we left. We fought. And then 1945, came back home, didn't we? Came back home to Dad. I said, Dad, life's tough. Dad was like, I'm old. These Germans beat me up. I can't do this anymore, son. Can you take over the empire? And we said, Dad, I got you. Go retire. And the Brits retired, and the Americans took over the empire, came back home, and we became Dad. We are now the empire. So yeah, they'd be disappointed, but I don't think regret. They'd probably want to do another one. That's probably what I would say. They'd probably want to do another one. That would be my gut. Ryan, $5. Thank you, my friend. We are all sons and daughters of liberty here. Samuel Adams. Oh, yes. Speaking of liberty, speaking of this, look, what did they do? What did they do before the revolution? They talked. They chatted. They talked. They debated. Did they do blood sport and call each other names? Sometimes. But most of what they did was actual talk, back and forth, back and forth. Why do I say that? Why? Because one of the sponsors here, as you know very well, one of our sponsors here is CiVL. CiVL is exactly that, right? CiVL is exactly that. CiVL is actually a place where you can go and you can get actual conversations back and forth. Recently, I have one here now. I'm going to bring this one up. There's always something interesting happening on CiVL. And I mean that. There's always something interesting happening. And I'm going to show you this if I could. This is actually a piece that just came out on CiVL talking about my possible mayor, Mamdani, right here, right? Done by Reason. On here, that what I like is Inez Stepman. You guys know Inez. Just asking questions.
What if New York City elects a socialist mayor?
This came out like 2 days ago, right? So something happens, CiVL's got something on it right away. Now, Inez is a friend of mine. You've seen her. I've been on TV with her. She's been on my show before. I've had her on my show more than once. She's wonderful and savvy and smart. And she's talking to people like Liz Wolfe and Reason people, and she's going to give you some real insight. This is not going to be blood sport. Now, Inez leans right, clearly, if you know what she does, but she's not going to insult. She's going to explain, and if you see it here, literally what it says here, it is how socialism seduced New Yorkers. It's not blood sport. It is conversation. That's what you get here on CiVL. You get conversation, not blood sport. You get up-to-date stuff you want to hear about. Larry, how are you so smart? Because I talk to these people. That's why I'm so damn smart. So if you want to, head on over to CiVL, CiVL.com. Put in code Larry, L-A-R-R-Y, for 50% off for the entire year. $25 for the entire year. You get this and a whole lot more. Plus, here's the best part. Of all the cool things you get on CiVL, number one thing you get, my special CiVL only show on Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Just CiVL only. And it always focuses on one important thing, happiness, what Vivek was talking about. You want to talk about happiness? We'll talk about it. How you can become happy, people can become happy, the country can become happy. We'll talk about it. Culture and us being happy, that is the CiVL show on CiVL, CiVL.com. Join up so you can see all the cool stuff. And when you join up, when you put your name in, upper right-hand corner is be a little green bar. Click that. When you click that, you're going to put in capital L, capital A, capital R-R-Y. That is my name in case you've forgotten. That's my name. Put that in. 50% off, $25 a year. You get cool stuff like this and more. And more. All right. Hope you guys enjoy that. I enjoy that tremendously. I'm a big fan. Jump on board as soon as you possibly can. Let me grab some more of these if I could. And then, of course, I'm on there. So, yes. See how good that is? All righty. Let me grab some more of these if I could. I know you have so many of these. Patty says, what's on my mind this 4th? My son-in-law works in mental health. He was told, look for a job in a different field because of cuts. That my doctor said, let's get everything we can get done before cuts. Ooh. This piece that you were bringing up is a serious problem, Patty. And here's the reason why. If you've ever noticed, Patty, whenever I come up with plans to cut government, what do I always focus on first? How does community support first? I know a lot of libertarians. You've heard them, you've seen them. They're all about cut. Get rid of it, dump it, get rid of it, dump it. I understand that concept. I do. I understand the emotion behind it. I do. It's just not real because we have a lot of people in this country. I mean, literally tens of millions of them who rely on this. You are correct, Patty. If we just cut, people start getting hurt. People are punished and they're going to demand stuff we don't want them to demand. I get it. If you remember everything I talked about, Patty, I want to get rid of all these government programs, but I want to make sure before I do that, that community is there first to pick up the pieces. And sadly, some of these cuts, community is not going to be there. You are correct. But there's a part that people aren't talking about. You're talking about, you wrote 2 points. The first one was, my doctor said let's. Right. But the other part, your son. There's a lot of people who have been told for decades the answer to getting a job and having everything work well for you is to get a nice college degree and there'll be a job waiting for you. They've been told that for years. Patty, you and I both know that's not true. Only place you can get that is big business and government. That's it. So a lot of people went to work for the government, not because they wanted to, but because they were actually hiring and they cared about my degree. So I'll go there. So now when government starts cutting, those people start losing their jobs and the private sector doesn't want them. Doesn't want them. people are going to start losing jobs and not going to be able to get rehired at all. The private sector doesn't want you to have a good job for a long period of time. They want you to bounce around a bit. They want that. And they don't want Gen Z. In fact, you know what, Patty? You just gave me an idea for a show. It's a very important point. You are right. And the sad part is, am I for cuts? Of course. But, massive but, big old but, Patty, big old but here. Communities gotta be ready to absorb when government walks away. And we are nowhere near there. We're just not there. We have to start building our communities up first so that when your son decides to walk away, there's a job out there for him. There's businesses being grown. There's new people wanting things. That's all happening. So your son goes, oh, okay, I'll leave this job. There's more for me to pick and choose from. Oh, there's more opportunities for me to do stuff. And that's not here, right? So thank you for bringing this up. It's a very important point. I completely get it. Yes. Phil became a member for 6 months. Thank you, Phil. Free to Choose Network is one of my favorite things in civil, besides this one Sharpe guy. Sharpe guy's a cool guy, but Free to Choose is amazing. I completely agree. Yes. Was the American Revolution the second English Civil War? Ooh. Was the American Revolution? I'm gonna. Yes and no. I could go both ways with this. I could. The reason why I would say no, but it's tough. Good question. You got me going back and forth on this one, Phil. The reason why I would say no is because one didn't win over the other. So it was kind of like a secession. The English Civil War was to control all of England. Our revolution was to secede. So maybe. Maybe. I'm not sure. That's a toughie. I could go either way with that. Because then how do we then take... we take over? I'm torn. Good question. My gut says no. My gut says no, because we weren't trying to take over. But I can go either way. I can go either way. I could. Do thank you for the $10. Not to contradict myself, but the revolution changed the world. We left tyranny and conquest for individualism and progress through commerce. No telling where we'd be if we lost revolution. That's why I'm saying I don't think they would have stopped it. I'm with you. I don't think they would have stopped it as Daniel kind of insinuated. And yes, there was lots of pain. True. Lots of pain in World War I, World War II, right? Lots of pain. But we add a but there, right? In the long run, did we make things better for people? I think in the long run, humanity as a whole is better. Clearly, if you're Native American, life was not better for you, obviously. But if you weren't Native American, I think overall, the world did become better. I agree with you. I think there's no French Revolution without our revolution, right? That doesn't happen, which means there's probably no realistic chance of having a World War I that crushes all the monarchies. So maybe, I don't know. I'm with you. I'm with you. So thank you for that. All righty. Grab a couple more of these. Joel says, Trump is saying he will make auto loan interest tax deductible. Americans do not need more and easier ways to get into debt. Ooh, interesting point. Interesting point. I see your point. So you're saying it's good. In a way, it's good that it's tax. You're making me, I don't want to say tax is good, Joel. Why you get me in trouble? You get me in trouble, Joel. You're going to get me in trouble. I don't want to go that far, but I get the point, right? I get your point, right? You're as a libertarian, you're happy things are tax deductible. Lower taxes is great, but maybe this is not the right thing to worry about. Yeah. Okay. Here's what I'll buy. If I'm going to change taxation, I'd rather end property tax or income tax. True. If I'm going to have taxes, I'd rather have it on debt, right? You're right. I get if I have to have that, yes, I'd rather have it on debt than say income or property. There we go. I'm not in too much trouble. I don't think, Joel. You didn't give me too much trouble. Yeah. I hope that's true. Oh yeah. Guys, you probably saw that I've been bugging people in the past. Click the like button. I'm going to bug you again. Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Please click the like button. If you have not clicked it, you are literally saying you like taxes. You like taxes if you don't click the like button. So click that like button now. It's how I get this out here. People will see me. Please do so. And if you haven't, please share this someplace. Repost this someplace. Let people know that this is put it on X, put it on YouTube, put it into a Facebook group. Let people know you're watching it so we can talk about this, so we can see it and ask questions. I'll take any question. I don't care. We'll talk about it, whatever the case may be, even if it's about whether this is the second Civil War that Phil got me off track with. Nicely done, Phil. But I got to rethink this. Now, you give me homework too. I got people give me homework all over the place. I got Phil give me homework on top of it. Also, follow me, guys. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on X. Follow me on Rumble. If you guys are not following me on Rumble, basically you're telling me that you hate me. You hate me if you don't follow me on Rumble. See that? Why? Why do you hate me and the children? Don't do that. There's no need. Don't do that. Love us all. Please do that. Click the buttons that you know you have to click. And follow me on Rumble if you would. I appreciate it. Speaking of Rumble, let me see here. Texas Spy Historian says, let's see here. Let's see. Swinging through for the like. Have a good one. Oh, that was nice. He came through just for the like. That was nice. I love that. Yes. Joel over on Rumble says, oh, Joel's on both. See that? Joel does love me because he's giving me homework on this one, making me look bad on YouTube, and then still making me look bad also on Rumble. Joel gets to hammer me twice. He says, we're not allowed to say we're not allowed to say things were great 50 years ago. That is racist going to the left. True. Remember something. Generally speaking, this is general rule. The more conservative you are, the more you think our glory days are behind us and we have to move back to it. The more progressive you are, the more you think our glory days are ahead of us and we have to progress towards them. That's not 100% rule, but it's a good general rule. So yeah. So if you are more progressive, you go, well, that's all racist. Now to be forward, were we more of a racist country then? Yes. Clearly. Of course we were. Yes, it's true. It doesn't mean we're bad. And this is the issue. Just because I'm not perfect doesn't make me bad. I'm not perfect. And I'm pretty awesome. So I'm just saying, you don't have to be perfect. And you can point out flaws. Right? You can point out and say, hey, we had issues, lots of them, and here they are. And are we moving towards and making things better or not? Here's what I would bring up one issue, and there's many of them, but let me bring up one. Most of the issues that have made America worse are government. Yes. Oh my God, shocker. Libertarian said that. And I'm going to keep saying that. It's true. Thomas Sowell said it. And it was so good. I saw it on a recent quote. I forgot who did the quote, but I saw it recently. I'm going to misquote it, but it's going to be close. I'm going to be close. If Thomas Sowell happens to be listening, please don't be mad at me, but it's pretty close. The Black family survived centuries of slavery and decades of Jim Crow to be destroyed by progressive war on drugs and war on poverty. That it couldn't survive. It couldn't survive progressive government. It couldn't survive neolibs and neocons. It couldn't survive that. Survived slavery for centuries. Survived Jim Crow for decades. Couldn't survive the war on poverty and the war on drugs. It couldn't survive neocons and neoliberals. That it couldn't survive. That destroyed it. So yeah, we were doing just fine until then. So anyway, let me keep going down here if I can. All righty. Americua says, I have a Battle Honda. Can I get a letter of marque or just a credit? Oh, thank you. That's what it was called. Thank you. Letter of marque, Americua corrects me. I forgot what it was called. It was a letter of something. Letter of marque was called if you were to be a privateer. See, they give you a letter of marque and you could go ahead and go do that. So yes, there we go. All righty. Americua goes on to say, at 1945, we were scared that if we didn't take over, Stalin would have. Not true at all, Americua. Not true at all. Roosevelt loved Stalin. Loved him. You say what you want. Loved him. Roosevelt gave everything away. Roosevelt was a terrible president for so many reasons. And we love FDR. And he was a shit president. He wrecked so much. He wrecked so much. We have a Cold War because of him. Because of him. He was terrible. We have unconditional surrender because of him. All the people who died in 1945 because of him. He was a terrible wartime president. He was a horrible president. So no, he did not. He loved Stalin. He sat with him at Yalta and gave him half of Europe. He could have just said, no, you ain't getting Europe. Why? Because we're funding your war. So no, you're not getting Europe. Why? Because I'm America. We're funding your war. If we stop funding your war, we'll join with the Germans and we'll conquer Russia, which is what every American general wanted to do. Which is what half of the German high command was hoping that they would do. I'm not making this up. You can take your own homework on that. German high command, they were still thinking at the end of the war, well, the real threat is Stalin, not America, not us. So once we get rid of these stupid Nazis, you guys will join the Germans and we'll go back and get rid of Stalin. He's the real problem. Yes. If you listen, I don't want to get banned off of the tube of you, but if you listen even to some of the special songs that the special forces of the German army of that time spoke, that special force at symbol was one lightning bolt, then a second lightning bolt. I don't want to say it because then I get banned on YouTube because I have to use kitty words. But that group, half of their songs were anti-communist songs, marching songs, fighting songs. Half of them were that. And in fact, if you happen to listen to the movie Fury, there's a small section where one of those specialized units is marching and they're singing the marching song. And the song talks about how we're going to go fight the communists. So, Amir Cool, you're off on that one. I love you, brother. You're off on that one. They weren't afraid of it. He loved Stalin. He thought it was great. He had no problem with it. Look, FDR was 2 steps from communist himself. So, yeah. I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating that. Maybe 3 steps. 4. Anyway, so 3. Let me keep moving on if I can. All righty. Let's see here. Let me grab here. So many of these. I appreciate that. Patty says America is 10 steps into Germany 1930s. Patty, I've been saying this for a long time. America has been moving towards a fascist state for a long time. Been begging for it. I go back to my same World War II days. If you go back to those days, there was an American Fascist Party. It was called the Bund. The government had to get rid of them. It's true. Check it out. The Bund, B-U-N-D, basically means the people in German. Basically means that. Yeah, and it was an absolutely pro-fascist party in America. Yep, I think they got rid of like 42 or something like that. But no, there was a huge chunk of people who were like, we should join the Germans. What are we doing? Why are we fighting the Germans? We join the Germans against the Russians. So you're totally correct. That has been for a while, Patty. We've been moving that way for a while. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, for a while. Daniel said, time to declare independence from Israel. Is that going to be our next Independence Day, Daniel? Is that our next Independence Day? There we go. You just made like half of the YouTube people pissed off with that one. So he said it, not me, YouTube. Don't get mad at me. So yes. All righty. Grab some more of these. Cheyenne says, I'm proud he's not in jail yet. Well, yeah, true. You never know. Yeah. Daniel says, why are we sending our criminals to Sudan and not Australia? Am I agenda too off? Not Australia. Oh, because of how harsh Australia is? Australia does have camps, so we could do that. For those who don't know, Sudan is in a civil war right now. Australia isn't. Sudan is and you might go, wait a minute, weren't they fighting South Sudan? No, Sudan is so screwed up that they fought their civil war with South Sudan forever. Remember about Darfur, all that bad stuff? Yeah, that happened. That war is over. So now there's 2 countries, Sudan and South Sudan. So you thought, okay, great, war's over. No. Now Sudan's in a second civil war with itself. I'm not joking. So Sudan itself had its own civil war. The South broke apart finally. UN helped them out. And now South Sudan's a separate country. And now, so Sudan's there. Oh, great. So now we're safe, right? No. They had their own civil war again. Who's involved in that civil war? Oh, everybody. UAE, Turkey, Iran, Russia, Ukraine. They're all involved. So that's why you go there. Why? Get any money. The Sudanese need cash to fund their war. So we pay them and they fund their war. That's the reason why we're in Sudan. Not because the Sudanese care. The Sudanese don't care about our criminals. Whatever. You got cash? Done and done. That's what they care about. So yeah, I hope that at least makes sense. It may seem weird, but it's because they're fighting a civil war and need cash. That's the reason why. and they're gonna take their cash and probably pay either Russian or Dutch or Romanian. A lot of Romanians now. Romanians are fighting. Romanians just got their ass kicked. I think it was in Burundi? Maybe Burundi, I think. Romanians just got their ass kicked. I think it was in Burundi, some area in that area, Rwanda, Burundi, in that area. And they literally got booted out because they got their ass. They lost a massive battle. They got booted out. So Romanians got booted out. The Dutch are there still, but Russians are all over the place. So they're going to pay Russians. You got to pay Russians to fight in Sudan, man. Somebody got to pay. So America will pay Sudan so that Sudan can pay Russians to fight the civil war. And you think it's just like simple. It never is. Yes. It never is. So anyway, I yapped on that one. I do want to bring up something else. Now we're talking about these types of things. The big, beautiful bills being passed, all those things. How do we feel about those things? How do we feel about war, Sudan, all those things? Why am I bringing this up? Because another group of people who I've loved to be part of and connected to for a long time are the advocates for self-government. And I bring them up because one of the coolest things they do is they get people thinking about the world's smallest political quiz. I would like you to support them and head on over there when you can. There's a link right now. There's a link in the Sharpe YouTube and a link in the Rumble chat. If you in the Rumble description, both of those, Sharpe YouTube description and the Rumble description, click that specific link. Why? Because you click that link, the advocates knows it came from this show. So please click that link, head over there and take the world's smallest political quiz. This is it right here. It is very short. Questions about personal issues, economic issues. That's it. Some bonus questions and then calculate my results. It's that simple. It's that fast. It's the world's smallest political quiz. When you're done taking it, click calculate my results, and it will ask you, do you want to give the email? Look, you don't have to. Click the X and you get your results. You don't have to. But if you want to get cool libertarian stuff, about once every couple of weeks, they do not email a lot. I know because I get the emails. They don't do so much. Put your email in if you want to. You get cool libertarian stuff when they have new things out because they have all kind of cool stuff we're going to talk about also. Take it, get your results. When you have your results, screenshot it. If you want to, please screenshot it and share it someplace. I don't care where you share it. Share it on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it. Share your results and put the same link that I just asked you in that share. Yes, I'm asking you to do some work for me. I am. It's free. Cost you nothing. Nothing. It's free. So do that for me to make them happy, to make me happy so we can have conversation. Here's the reason why you want it. When you do that, you start rethinking where you are. You might think you're more conservative, you're more liberal, you're more libertarian, and you might not be. You don't know where you are. You're going to find out. Not just that, it will show you where you are compared to others who took the test. Oh, yes. You might think, wait a minute, Larry, these are libertarians. Everyone's libertarian. No. You know what the most common answers? Moderate. I'm not joking. They show you. You will look. The most common outcome is actually moderate. Most Americans are actually moderates. I wish they were all libertarians. Clearly, they're not. Most are actually moderates. So take it, see where you stand. Do me a favor, do that. Click the link I just told you. Click that link, take the test, screenshot it, and then share it someplace. You want to tag me? Even better. If you love me, do that. I really appreciate it, guys. Help me out here to make that happen. It's the Advocates for Self-Government, theadvocates.org. I appreciate the help and the assistance on that. I really do. All righty. Let me grab some more of this if I can. Rick says, I guess we can be proud about how well we serve Israel over our own national interests. Okay, I see where this is going, guys. I see where tonight's going. I see where it's going. Yes. Salty Captain says, do you think the American Party will be at all effective? No, not at all. Nope, I don't. I think, and the reason why I say it is because the system is made to stop it. Bobby Kennedy Jr. is the one who found that out the hard way. Every time people try to do that, it doesn't work. The answer is there are two parties, maybe three, I mean, if we're pushing it, that actually know what they're doing. Libertarians and Greens and kind of Constitution. Constitution depends on who's there and who's not. Constitution's lost some people. They may have lost some institutional knowledge, but if those people go to come back, those are the three parties that have any clue what they're doing, right? Forwards figuring it out the hard way. They're on their way to being there. They're not there yet, but they're on their way to being there. We the People, it's on its way to being there. So those two parties are on their way to getting it. They don't have it yet. Greens, libertarians, kind of Constitution's been there and out. Constitution has had a lot of people leaving it back and forth. You need to grab one of those parties and support them because they know what's going on. At worst, grab We the People or Forward, just because they're on their way. But starting from scratch, no. Not because people aren't smart. Not because, he doesn't have money. The system is just utterly and completely. If you don't know what you're doing, if you haven't been through the pain, you cannot win. Guys, I've been through this more than most people. I've been to court now, if I count both, 10 times? How long have I been there? I don't know how many times I've been in court, right? How many times have I got people? Some of you came to court with me. Some of you right now watching were in court with me, right? That's how bad it was. It was challenging. It was hard. You have to learn this stuff. Robert Kennedy Jr. thought he had it because he raised $30 million. He spent $20 million just on ballot access and couldn't do it. Just to get on the ballot. So no, I don't think so. That's just my view. They should jump on a party and then move from there. Mike Voss in the house. Every problem found on America at any time is no different than any other nation, except America has had more and better solutions. Every problem found on America at any time is no different than any other nation, except America has found more and better solutions. Well, I disagree. America has had some special pieces. America's an empire. Now, every nation's an empire, so there are issues there. America is a massive quilt and or melting pot. Not every nation is that. America has massive debt because it's a reserve currency. Not every nation's had that. The Dutch have had it and the British have had it. That's it. Only those two that I can remember. And you go back to like the Romans and stuff, but in modern times, if you even count that, so that's different. Chattel slavery is only the Americas. You don't find that anyplace else. And our answers have not been better. That's for goddamn sure. They have not been better. No, I think there are very special, unique parts to America. How we dealt with to the earlier point, how we dealt with our native population. As bad as we were better than most. I know it's going to sound horrible how bad we treat our Native Americans. We at least respect them as a nation. So in that case, that was a better, I think, solution in a way, in that we respect them as a nation. No other country does. No other country does. The Brits don't respect their former pick population or whatever. And the Japanese don't really expect their Ainu. That's not a thing. They don't go, well, come on, back to Japan. They don't do that. Right. So yeah, I think we are unique in many ways. And sometimes our answers are better, but sometimes not. Our answer for chattel slavery was not great. Apartheid was not a good answer. That was not a good answer. So yeah, I could see both, but I do think we're special. I disagree about that. We are different. We are special. And we have a lot of special issues that either very few countries have had, or in some cases, no countries have had. So yeah. Shan says, watching the 10th Amendment Center, quoting all the founders, and we didn't listen to one word. True. We listened to none of them. True. Absolutely true. Yes. Patty says, 24th worldwide education. It's an embarrassment, Patty. It's an embarrassment. You are right. It's an embarrassment. Phil says, do you think the Second Amendment is an expression of anti-war / anti-interventionism? I think the Second Amendment is an expression of anti-centralization, which by default equals that. That makes any sense, right? If I can't have a standing army, if I can't have one guy who declares war whenever he wants to, I can't be an interventionist. So what did we do? We got rid of the Second Amendment. We've nationalized all militias, and now the president doesn't need a declaration of war anymore. So that's why So yes, but two steps. That makes any sense, Phil. Yes, but two steps. We didn't want to centralize power. That was the most important thing for our founding fathers. Don't centralize power. That's why we had the Articles of Confederation before we had the Constitution. We were so worried about centralized power. You can't be an interventionist or pro-war if you don't have centralized power. So by default, that happens, right? And if everyone is Second Amendment, there's no need for a standing army, which we didn't want standing armies, right? We wanted militias that we could call upon when we need them. That was the whole goal. We didn't want to have a standing army because, of course, you can now be interventionist. We didn't want to have bases across the world. That wasn't a thing. We don't want that, right? So, yeah, I think that will be my answer for that one. So, all righty. Ryan, thank you for the $5, my friend. I don't get what's going on with Israel/Iran or the civil war in Sudan on the mainstream legacy media. They are pathetic beyond all recognition. True, of course. Yes. Oh my God. And this is a piece that's really important, Ryan. I watch mainstream news so I know what the corporations want us to hear, not for information, right? It's rare, right? You will sometimes hear me say I like to watch Fareed Zakaria. Fareed Zakaria, while I think his answers are almost always garbage, his info is good, right? If you want to hear what's happening, his information is very good. You get good info out of him. You won't get good answers. His answer always establishment. He brings in like, it's the Council on Foreign Relations that tell you how to do stuff. Terrible answers. But his data is pretty good when it comes to foreign. Civil, domestic, usually Michael Smerconish has good information. Again, not saying you like his answers, but to know what's happening. These are two good sides to look at when it comes to mainstream media. Other than those two, it's just utter garbage. I know some of you go, well, Fox is better than MSNBC or CNN. Yeah, if you like the spin of either one of them, but they're all just garbage. They don't really tell you anything of any value. You have to go on YouTube, or you have to go on CiVL, or you've got to go on Telegram. You've got to go on other things to actually get information. Mainstream media gives you garbage. You're totally correct. Legacy media is utter shit. Total garbage. All they're going to tell you is, here's why Democrats are bad, or here's why Republicans are bad, or Trump is evil and he's mean. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get actual information. You can't find anything, and I mean nothing, on the war in Sudan. Nothing on mainstream media. Not a thing. You're totally correct. And then Israel-Iran? What? You don't even know what's happening in Gaza unless it's making someone else look bad. Then they'll tell you about Gaza, right? If it makes their side look bad, then they'll know about Gaza. But just information, nothing. They don't tell you. They don't tell you. You're totally correct. It's an embarrassment, which is why it's dying. That's why it's dying. The problem is nothing has popped up that really works as well. The model that I think will eventually hit, I think, is the original Rising, Sagar, and Crystal style model. I think can eventually get work if they add more bodies. Breaking Points, I think, is surviving not because it's good, but because it's the best out there. If that makes any sense. I mean, it's become just the We Hate Trump show, which is so embarrassing. Not that you shouldn't hate Trump. You can hate Trump if you want to. I don't mind you hating Trump. Hate Trump. It's fine. But if I want just the We Hate Trump show, I can just watch CNN. And it just is We Hate Trump 24/7. It's fine. But that concept is a good concept. They have to find a better one of those. What I thought worked well, and I'm utterly biased, but I don't care, is when Dan Abrams would have 3 people on the show. He would have a lefty, a righty, and me on. If you guys do some homework, you can see, put in Larry Sharpe, Dan Abrams, you'll see when I was on. And that was a good show because the lefty would be the lefty, the righty would be the righty, and then I'd be the same one because I'm the smartest one. See? And modest too. So that I thought was pretty decent. And Dan was like, okay, moderating it, right? What about this? What about this? He was moderating the whole thing. That style gave a lot of insight and data. I enjoyed that tremendously. I think in the long run, it will work. Phil says, which page creators better, percentage, YouTube or Rumble? Rumble does by percentage, but the big cash usually is on YouTube. Yeah, but by percentage, it's Rumble. Look, to be forward, Rumble, I think, has to become the future for most creators like me, right? I got to do baby talk on YouTube, but right now, Rumble, I'm struggling to get 500 people following me on Rumble, right? But by percentage, give me an example. I have about a little under 500 people who follow me in Rumble. I usually get over 100 views just in Rumble. So I'm getting 20% of the people follow me views. That's great. When I was on my Larry Sharpe YouTube, which I just stopped streaming on it. I was so shadow banned. I pop videos up on it, but I hardly ever stream on it because I have 40,000 people almost subscribe on Larry Sharpe, and I would get 200 views. With 40,000 people, that's how bad I was shadow banned. They just would not, no, they would show nothing. No one would see it. So I was like, okay, you win, YouTube. Hell with it. So I went to my Sharpe Way YouTube, which is much better. So Sharpe Way, I only have 3,000 people. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to Sharpe Way, you're killing me. Look at 3,000 people subscribe on Sharpe Way. And they get 500, 600 views, sometimes 1,000 views. So I'm up to that same percentage on Sharpe Way, a higher percentage on Sharpe Way. So I get a bunch on that one, right? My Larry Sharpe Facebook, I used to stop streaming on that one because I have almost 90,000 people on that. And Larry Sharpe Facebook, I'd get 1,000 views on that out of 90,000. So I was looking at my Sharpe Way, and I like 3,000 whatever I had, 4,000 whatever I had on that. And I was getting like 200 views. What's going on? So that's why you see me stream on 8, 9 different platforms. That's how I get thousands of views. I can't get thousands of views if I just stream on one platform until you guys do what I've been asking you to do, which is subscribe to Sharpe Way YouTube. If you haven't, you hate me. Subscribe to that. That's the way we make things happen. And of course, Rumble too. Hope I answered your question. So yeah. All right. I appreciate that, by the way, all the time, things you did. All righty. Let me keep going here. Roger says, it says persons. Oh, it's persons. Thank you. That's the word. The Constitution doesn't say citizen. I forgot what word it said. Roger, thank you for correcting me. It actually says persons. So it says persons. That doesn't mean citizen. Now, could a court decide it means citizens? They could, but they haven't, right? It's possible. Could they make it as adults who vote? They could, but they haven't. And doesn't say that. It says persons. So is an illegal or undocumented worker a person? Yeah, it is. That's the precedent that we have from that, right? That's why they made that rule. Persons. So you either have to change the Constitution, option 1, or the Supreme Court has to make a rule that says person actually means whatever definition they give it. That'd be the only way. But to Roger's point, it says person. It doesn't say citizen. It doesn't say voter. It doesn't even say adult. So you have to then define what a person is. That's the issue. And for the 3/5 compromise, a slave was 3/5 a person. It is 3/5 a person. Roger, I should have known that. It's literally 3/5 a person. I should have known that. Shame on me for that one, Roger. Thank you for correcting me. I should have known that. Shame on me. I should have known that. So yes. All righty. Joel says, Hochul says she will investigate high electric costs. All rates must be approved by her Public Service Commission. Why does she act like costs are a mystery? Okay, why does she control costs? One step further. Why does she control costs? Yes, let's go even there, right? Let's go even there. So yeah. Anyway, let's keep moving down here. I'm looking over on CiVL chat. D says, Larry, is it true your Sharpe radio program is now on Mondays? Yes, it is. That's 100% true. For those of you who know, my show has moved, by the way, till Mondays, right? And so if you want to see my radio show, it is now Mondays at 1 p.m. It used to be Tuesdays at 1 p.m. It is now Mondays at 1 p.m. So there's some special shows. As you know, there's a CiVL show I talk about all the time on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. You must join CiVL to see that show. I also have my radio show, which is out of Rochester, New York at 1 p.m. Monday. Last Friday, I was doing my radio show out of Rochester, New York, 3 to 6. That was last Friday. Also, though, something special. There's a members panel show Friday, July 11th at 8 p.m. A lot of you have already asked. I'm going to pick my 3 people probably by Monday so that we know who's going to be going on next Friday. We'll figure this out. We will have the answer by Monday, who's going to be on. So it'll be me plus 3 people. So if you are a member, you can be on that panel. That's not a members viewer only. That's a members on the show. Everyone can watch. And we'll do something similar to this, a chat back and forth. Membership is important because you've been in a show by something else. Members can also submit reaction videos. A lot of these videos you see me reacting to, it's you members sending them to me and I go, oh, that's a good one. And then I react to it. Or they make me think about something and then I react to it. So yes, so you can become a member is awesome. But Larry, you probably asking yourself, how can I get these cool benefits as a member? You can just go to YouTube, Sharpe Way YouTube, and click join. Do that. It's $49 per month. And all of a sudden now you get all the cool membership perks. Plus, not AMA, outside of the AMA, I try to get member comments before others, right? AMA, I'm very loose. I try to get as many people as I can. But outside of AMAs, I try to get member comments first. I try to focus on member comments whenever I can, except when trolls pop up. I do like spotlighting trolls. That's kind of a personal thing I like. But otherwise, members go first, and members get this. Again, submit reaction videos. And of course, members also get to join the panel shows. We'll do at least one every month or two. You can come on to be another one, probably in August or September. You can come on again, and you get to hang out and be with the cool kids. You get to be with the cool kids. Not bad, $49 per month. And the more members I get, then the less I have to work, the more of these shows I can do, the more stuff I'm prepared for. Life becomes easier for all of us, and I can do more of this. And I want to keep doing more of this. By the way, I'm also on Spotify now. Oh, yeah. You can go on Spotify. I didn't even tell you that one, did I? Yes, I'm on Spotify now. I was on before, and then I wasn't. But now I am. So all things now are cool. So please do that if you can. All right, let me grab some more of this if I could. Let's see here. We are starting some gifting. I appreciate it. Yes, Daniel gifted a Sharpe membership. Guys, there's one right there. Grab it. Grab the membership. Remember our rules of membership. If you make $20 million a year, you may not grab this membership. Do not be greedy. If you make $20 million a year, pay the $49. If you make under $20 million, take the membership. Please go ahead. That's the number. But Larry, I make $19.9 million per year. Take the membership. 20 million is the number. I make 21 million. Well, you screwed. Don't take it. Don't be greedy. That's how it works. Phil, jumping on the train. Thank you so much, my friend. Give another Sharpe membership. All these are important, guys. Please grab the memberships as they come up. I do appreciate it tremendously. Thank you for the help, guys. That is amazing. Thank you so much for the help. All right, I'm looking over on CiVL. And let's see. Kim says, how long before you get monetized on CiVL? I don't get monetized on CiVL. That's not a thing. I'm on CiVL because CiVL's awesome. I don't get monetized on CiVL. Just go there because awesomeness. Do that. Ryan doing the Sharpe Way memberships. Thank you so much. Another one, guys. I love it. Please grab them if you can. It is amazing. I appreciate it. Please do so. Yes. All right, I'm looking over on Rumble. And let's see here. Americua says, question, if the West hadn't come to the Americas, when would they have gotten the wheel? They wouldn't have gotten the wheel. And the reason, people don't know why. This is an interesting piece that Americua brings up. In the Western Hemisphere, the Native Americans did have the wheel as a tool, but they never used it the same way they did in the Eastern Hemisphere. They didn't use it the same way. They used it for things like gambling and like some calendars and for religion. They didn't use it the way they did in the East. Why not? No pack animals. That's the issue, right? We mean no pack. There's no pack animals. They didn't use it for pack animals. Wasn't a thing, right? Didn't have that. And the reason is when the humans came into the Western Hemisphere, they came much later. And the pack animals that were there, and there were pack animals in North America. There were horses in North America. There were elephants, or were they mammoths? Some form of pachyderm. I think they were elephants. I think maybe mammoths then. I don't remember when they were, but they were some form of pachyderm was there. And we killed them all. They all died. We killed them all because we came by. We ate them, destroyed them, diseased them because they didn't evolve with humans. In the Eastern Hemisphere, pack animals evolved with humans. They didn't evolve with humans in the Western Hemisphere. So when they came over, we just killed them. They all died. They were reintroduced by Europeans. Horses came back into in fact, so did pigs. Horses and pigs came back to the Americas because Europeans brought them. And they were reintroduced. And they were shocked how fast pigs became feral. They were surprised how fast domesticated pigs became boar. Like crazy. Like 2 generations, something crazy like that. Like, oh my God, that's a feral. What happened? It's crazy. So that's what happened. So they wouldn't have until the West came. Now, so it just wouldn't have happened. And no pack animals. That's the issue. That's why there were no carts in that these things didn't really exist. They didn't really, it was much more just people walking to be forward. One of the best road systems were actually the Inca. They had road systems, and because they had llama, the Incas had some llamas, and they would just carry them. They would lead them. They weren't riding the llamas. They would pull the llamas, and they would walk. That was the thing that was there. So they wouldn't have until we came. Perhaps if the Vikings had come again, maybe, I don't know, that'd have been it. So hope I answered your question. Phil, $1 over on Rumble. What do you think about America's transition from coastal forts and literal ships to a blue water navy? Should we go back? Is the Department of Navy responsible for American expansion? U.S. Maine, Tonkin. No. To be forward, as they say, America's business is business. Having a deep water, blue water navy is a wonderful idea. We should always have it because someone's got to guard this stuff from pirates. I wish other nations could help us and it could be something, but right now we cannot. So to keep commerce going, I am very happy that America has a very large navy. It should always have a very large navy, no matter what, for that reason. We do need to do that. So yeah, no, even you can't blame the Navy for what American propaganda does, right? It'd be like blaming the Army for Vietnam or something. It's the Army's fault, right? So no, I don't blame them at all. In any case. So my VA lady says, I love the advocates quizzes. Yes, me too. I completely agree. They're amazing. Yes. Space Jason says, the only reason there's debate over the person/civilian idea is because modern Democrats/progressives think everyone in the world is a progressive American citizen. I'm not sure that's true. I look, if you're a judge, there is precedent, and judges care about precedent a lot. They care about precedent. There's a precedent to say a person doesn't have to be a citizen, and that's the 3/5 compromise, right? It's there. So I think judges are going to fall back to precedent. They tend to do so. It is common. So yes, absolutely. So Kim over on CiVL says, feral hogs are a big problem in some places. They can do a lot of damage. Yes, they can hurt people. Like a feral hog can literally like scar you. You're right. It is a big problem. I agree. And the Spanish were surprised on how fast these pigs became feral. They did not think it would happen so quickly. And yeah, so pigs are new to North America because I think the Spanish brought them first. I'm sure Brits bought pigs too, but I think the Spanish were the first to bring them. So yeah. All right, let me grab a couple more of that. You know, I'm going to bring one more piece if I could. I'm talking about CiVL, and I'm popping up people who are talking on CiVL. Some of you guys are grabbing it. I appreciate it. The other thing that I like about CiVL, I showed you earlier when I talked about it. I was talking about how Inez Stepman is on it, and I know her. She's a friend of mine, and I adore her, and she's savvy and smart. That's the only people who are on CiVL. All right. Something else is on CiVL too here. I want to bring this one up. I thought this was interesting. As soon as I saw it, I was thoroughly impressed by it because I do adore this woman. Naomi Brockwell's here, and she talks about safety and security. And this is talking about sharing your kids online. This is, again, this year. This is recent. This is CiVL showing you stuff from this year. And you might say to yourself, what? People show their kids online. She does an entire piece here talking about
what does the future look like for your child?
Yes.
Before they can even talk, many kids already have a bigger digital footprint than their parents did at 20.
Did you hear that? Kids, before they talk, may have a bigger digital footprint than their parents. Is that insane? Where are you going to hear that? Who's telling you that? Is that mainstream media going to tell you? No. That's this amazing woman who I adore. If you're listening, Naomi, you know I adore you. So yes, this is her right here. I just saw her at Freedom Fest. She's amazing. You get that on CiVL. This is the kind of stuff I'm saying you can see. You can't get this someplace else, guys, right? And all together, and of all, look, she's amazing. Inez is amazing. I've had Naomi on my show too. I've interviewed her. If you want to check her out, check my YouTube page. Type in her name and my name. Boom, she pops up. She's amazing and awesome. On top of that, you get my cool Wednesday evening show. On top of it, come on, you cannot, guys, you can't beat that. You could try to beat it, but you can't. It's impossible. So think about this. Getting on the CiVL allows you to also get Naomi and to get me, to get us all the cool stuff going on CiVL. What are you going to do? Head over to CiVL.com, CiVL.com. When you put your name in, you're going to see upper right-hand corner, little green thing. Click that green thing. It says like, I forgot what it says. It says some words on it. It's green. Click the green words. Click it. And when you click it, the code will pop up and you put in Larry, Larry, all caps. Put that in. That's my name, by the way. You don't think my name's just Sharpe. It's Larry Sharpe. So yes, put my name in. You get 50% off for the entire year. $25 for the entire year. Do that. You get Naomi. You don't get Naomi. I mean, we all love Naomi. You get to see her. There we go. You get her amazing information on her number one piece she brings up is security. Security is something you wouldn't think of. She talks about sometimes, I'm not joking, what wallet you should have. Oh, I'm serious. She talks about what kind of phone you should get. Oh, yes, I'm serious. She is very much concerned about your security and how you deal with it. She is the one now that maybe was what John McAfee was 10 years ago, right? Remember John McAfee before he passed? All about security, all about that. Maybe she's what he was 10 years ago. She is that now. She's the one right now. And you get that on CiVL, CiVL.com. Put that code Larry in, Larry, 50% off. You get that and me on Wednesdays on top of it. Kidding me? Why aren't you doing it now? What's wrong with you? Do it. All right, let me keep going if I could. All righty. Let's see here. Endeavor says, I voted 2 times for President Obama, but I didn't see any real change until I voted 3 times for President Trump. Nicely done. I like that. I like that. But you might say, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. No, it does. It does. Let me be very clear about this. America has been trying to get a rebel for decades. And many people thought that rebel was Obama. It was not. It was not. But many people thought it was. It was not. So people who went, wait a minute, I voted for this guy. He's supposed to be different. He's supposed to be this rebel. He's supposed to be this guy. Well, it didn't work. Now what? They say, I guess I'll vote for this Trump guy. He's a rebel. Yeah, you're not alone. A lot of people were thinking that. You're not alone. So yes. So Fort Dearborn podcast says, my job was eliminated. And right away after that, my mother became gravely ill and died. Oh, I'm sorry. It's terrible. It's going to be a rough road re-entering the job market at my age. Yes. And let me, Patty, you hit a nerve, Patty, as you often do. I am sometimes surprised, Patty, how you actually have your finger on the pulse. Many times you've done this. When I've seen you, for those of you who don't know, Patty lives up in Plattsburgh, and I've met her many times. She says things, and I'm like, I ain't go looking at that one. She has her finger on the pulse many times. You've hit a nerve here, and I do think that makes sense. And let me give you a bit, if I could. If you want to look for a job in today's world, the number one thing is networking. And I mean meeting people. It is the number one thing. Why? Because you want to be able to speak the language of the current market, whatever that is, in whatever field you want to be in. And you only learn that by being in the middle of it. You have to go meet people. You don't want to go to things like job fairs or things like that, or networking groups where people are looking for work. None of that. That's a waste of your time. You want to go literally to things like conferences and trade shows and things like that. If you can't get in because you don't have the cash to get in, volunteer for a vendor. I'm very serious. So let's say that, I don't know what field you're in, but for the sake of argument, you're in the medical field, medical billing. I made that up completely. So there's got to be a conference or a trade show somewhere. Go there if you can. If you go, Larry, I don't have the cash. Okay, find a vendor and you go on their website, look for all the sponsors. There'll be sponsors there. Reach out and say, hey, do you need a volunteer to work your booth? You need a volunteer to do so-and-so. You will volunteer to work for them, and all you want is to get paid to get there. And you'll be surprised how often, particularly smaller companies who need bodies, will do it. Oh, you do it? Yeah. Okay, yeah, sure. You come in. And you work the booth for them. And what they do is sometimes they'll actually pay you a small fee. Sometimes they will, but they'll pay you to get you there. Now you're there. So while they're working booth for them, you're meeting other people, learning stuff, all those things. It's a very good tactic to get yourself back into the flow of things, understanding what they say, what's going on, what they care about, what they don't care about. It's a very good way of doing it. So see if you can make that happen. Networking is critical, right? Not just that. Do not go out of your way to throw a bunch of resumes out there. It is a colossal waste of time, money, and energy, and it will break your spirit, my dear, because most of them are going to blow you right off because you're competing against so many people. Don't do it. It'll break your spirit. Don't do it. Pick companies you want to work for. Send specific cover letters and specific resumes to those companies only. I would rather you try to find 10 companies you want to work for than blast 500. You blast 500, you can get 499 no's and one maybe, then a no. It's going to break your spirit. Don't need that. You just lost your mom. You don't need more bad news. Not the right answer. You get the way 80% of people get their jobs nowadays is through someone recommending you. That's how you get it. You want to make sure you are networking to the best of your ability. Next, here's the hardest part. If you can intern or volunteer, take it. If you can. I don't know where your dollars are. I don't know where your money is right now, right? If you're in a spot where you can take it, take it. I know people go, they got to pay me. That's why you don't get hired. Take it. And your goal is not to do a good job. I don't mean to be mean on that. It isn't your goal. Your goal is to meet people. Why? Most employees, to be very full with you, I do hiring, not as much now, but I used to do a lot of hiring, and I see it. Most employees are entitled. Most of them I would not hire. I turn away most people. Most people I would never hire. For those of you who know, I used to teach at graduate school, Yale and Columbia. Most of my students I would never hire. Tell you the truth, most of them would never hire. I hope they're not watching that because they're going to be mad at me. Was I one of them you would hire? Probably, yeah. Most of them I wouldn't hire. Entitled, they can't do anything. They just want stuff. You need to be the person who says, no, I will do stuff. I will work. You don't have to be the best. You don't got to be the smartest. I'll show up and I'll work. And you will be amazed how people are like, I want her. You will see people say all the time, I'm qualified. Why can't I get a job? Because you're intolerable. I don't want you around me. All you know how to do is complain. I don't want you around me. I'm not hiring you. It's not worth even training you. So focus on those pieces. You have a better shot. If you are older, you're right. It's harder. And I know it's illegal. I'm aware of it. But to be very forward, ageism is real. I'm being forward. Ageism is real. It's against the law and still used. And here's the worst part. Ageism is worse on both spectrums. They don't want the young. They hate Gen Z. And they don't want the old. They want millennials. They want Gen X. They want that right in the middle. That's the hardest part. I hope that's who you are. I don't know how old you are. I hope you have a good shot if you're in that spot. But if you're like late 50s, under 25, they don't want you. I know it sounds horrible, but you got to get past that, which means networking, meeting people, networking, meeting people again and again and again. It's a big deal. Last thing I'll tell you, if you're looking for a job now and you are not using AI every single day, you are cutting the odds of you getting a job. You should be using some form of AI every single day. I don't care for what. If it's to, as Phil's doing, write a book. If it is to write a resume, if it is to research something, is it is to find out, is draw a picture. I don't care. Every day. You should be 100% open, happy, used to, accustomed to using AI. If you are not, you are lowering the odds of you getting a job. You're just lowering the odds. If you just got to get hired, here's the next thing. Go to the government. Government work. Government work, if you can get it, grab it. If you can get it. To Patty's point, a lot of us getting cut. So you can't always get it. But if you need a job, go to government. Government is literally looking for reasons to hire you. So if you can go there if you can, if you got it. But Patty's point is a valid one. That's not going to go away too. So just being honest with you. In fact, now I'm going to do a show on it probably next week now. So good luck with that either way. Feel free to reach out to me if you need to. Maybe Twitter may be easier. You can have a conversation. I'm happy to have a conversation with you about it. So yes. Okay. Let me keep going down here if I can. All righty. I went down that road and okay. I'm sure you guys, I went long on that, but if you like what you're hearing, do me a favor, click the button known as like. I ask you to do that all the time. It does matter. Lima, India, Kilo, Echo, so we can keep going. If you like what I'm saying, it matters to you. Let people know that you like it. It's important. Share this someplace right now. Repost this someplace. Put this into a Facebook page. Why haven't you done that? If you don't, do you hate Patty? Why do you hate Patty? She's wonderful. Why do you hate her so much? Stop it, you mean people. Take this and put this into a Facebook page and show Patty you don't hate her. Do that. Repost this on X. Show Patty you don't hate her. She's wonderful. Stop it, you mean people. Do that. Also, please follow me on Facebook, X, and Rumble. I didn't say follow me on Facebook, X, or Rumble. Facebook, X, and Rumble. Yes, I'm greedy. I don't care. I'm greedy. Do all of those. Please be, I want to be greedy. Please do it all. And if you want to get your text right, your chat right to the front, you can. You can do that by super chatting me on YouTube or ranting me on Rumble. Either of those two. Super chat me on YouTube or rant me on Rumble, goes right to the front, as it always does. I do appreciate that. All right, guys, I'm keep going. If I grab some more of these, if I can. So many of these. I love it. All righty. Endeavor says, doesn't matter what we think. The United States of America is the best on earth. I agree. I'm not fighting you on that. I agree. You're not wrong. I just think we want to be able to express why and not just say it to be true, because America, we should be able to say it. We should be able to express why it matters, what we think. Yeah, we should be able to do so. That's my only issue, Endeavor, is I want us to be able to know what things we've been doing. So yes. Endeavor goes on to say, if you have noticed, there's no Cold War anymore. That's not true. What are you talking about? We're in Cold War II, man. Cold War I. We won Cold War I, but we lost the peace. We do what we always do. We win the war, lose the peace. We won the war. Reagan was the last guy to end it, right? No, get me wrong. He gets credit for ending it, but he wasn't the only one who fought it, obviously, right? Lots of presidents fought that war, but he gets credit for ending it. No shade to Reagan for ending it. He outspent them. He forced the Russians to fall, the Soviet Union to fall apart. True. He gets credit for that. Here's the issue. In that Cold War, the Soviet Union was the senior partner. The Chinese were the junior partner. And we fought the Chinese directly in Korea and kind of in Vietnam. Not kind of directly, kind of not. But yeah, we fought them there. So the proxy wars were against China. And the Cold War directly, and the spy war and all that stuff, the spies, all that kind of big stuff up here was fought against Soviet Union because it was the major partner. Well, so we win the Cold War, but we lose the peace. What do I mean by that? We weren't able to create a good hegemony because we wouldn't stop messing with the Russians and messing with the Chinese. We wouldn't allow them because of our stupid neocons that we had in 1990s who wouldn't allow it. Clinton, and he was a neocon too. All of them doing that. They screwed it up. They totally screwed it up. I blame Clinton the most. I blame Bush, first Bush, but I blame Clinton the most because Bush grew up in the Cold War. He was a World War II veteran. It was probably a lot to ask him to actually know how to win that peace. He should have, though. His responsibility, he should have. But it's a lot to ask. Clinton should have known better. Clinton should have known better. And he screwed up the peace. What happened? Well, now it reversed. China now. We're in Cold War II. China is a senior partner. We're fighting up here on China, with AI and all that stuff, where it was spy stuff before and SDI back in the Soviet world. Now it's AI and technology up here. And the proxy war is now Ukraine and Syria, and that's we're fighting Russia. So now we're fighting Russia. Russia is a junior partner now in Cold War II. There is a Cold War, my friend. It's absolutely that. I don't know where you're going with that one. It's 100% there. It is obviously there. So yes. Kim, thank you for 49. Says, thank you, Phil, for the membership. This is much better than searching for the join button. There we go. Easy. I like it. Made it easy. There we go. That's so simple. I love that. So, all righty. Rick says, FDR was more fascist, but in form and not in name since December 1941 for some reason. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Ryan says, FDR was dumb, power-hungry douchebag. True. Most people don't see that. Most people think he's great. He's a terrible president in many ways. I could do an entire show on how bad he was. He was a terrible president. The reason why we have our horrible healthcare system now is because him. The reason why we have terrible unions, where the unions, there's monopolies of unions, is because of him. He's the reason. The reason why Social Security is a disaster, because of him. He's the reason. He's the reason for all the ways these things don't work well, because of him. The reason why the Cold War even happened, because of him. He's the reason for all that. He's the reason for all that. The reason why there was a East and West Germany, because of him. He's the reason. The reason why there was a North and South. The reason there's North and South Korea, because of him. He's the reason for all that shit. None of that should have existed. He was a terrible president. So yes. All righty. All right. Let's see if I go here. Let's see. Michael says, I just heard that yesterday in Germany, over 100 people were arrested for the Facebook post. I believe that. They don't have a First Amendment. That's my whole point on the Bill of Rights. Even though we take a steaming dump on our Bill of Rights every once in a while, we do. Absolutely. Still, we have it. And that matters, right? That matters. So Biote says, many of us celebrate the ideals on which the country was founded, except slavery and genocide. U.S. behavior to the question. Agreed. And why did we even have a point of wanting to end slavery or wanting to give former slaves even citizenship? It was because we had ideals that we were like, if they're people, then we got to do it. And if they're not people, then who cares? They're property, so it's fine. But if they're people, damn, now we kind of got to give them this stuff. So yeah, why was there a separate but equal fight even, right? Why would we even need separate but equal, right? Why would it even be a thing? I'm not saying that was right, but even that was a step. Even that was because we had these ideals. I think you're right, right? And we didn't totally genocide. I mean, we did a lot of killing, but we didn't. But there's still Native American tribes now. And other countries, there wouldn't be any. Why? Again, what I would say, even though we did some terrible things, true, our ideals in many cases actually made us either come up with an answer, a reason why, a logic behind it, or even sometimes tempered us in our bad behavior. I would argue that too. So over on looking at Rumble, Phil, thank you for the $1, my friend. There's a great clip where Nixon predicted that if Russia wasn't able to get democracy, then it would embrace their history of the Russian Empire. He was right. I don't have to think of Nixon. Look, Nixon had a lot of issues, but again, you see this constantly. I keep trying to do this, and Phil, I know you see this. When we don't like somebody or some group of people, we very often give them, as I say all the time, all the bad traits. They're dumb, and they're evil, and they're mean, and they're ugly. We just give them every trait we don't like. When in reality, most people don't have all the bad traits. Nixon was right in many ways. He was. Nixon went to China. Nixon did things. Nixon, someone was a lefty. Guy started the EPA. So, I mean, it depends on what you're looking at. You can find good things about Nixon. You absolutely can. And some bad things too, obviously. But you can find good things. Most people aren't all bad. I mean, some are. But most people aren't all bad. Like FDR is all bad. But all the rest, no, Wilson, also all bad. But most presidents aren't all bad. Right? You can find good things. The perfect one I'll give you is Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was not an effective president at all. But Jimmy Carter is a wonderful, or was, he passed. He was a wonderful human being. Just because he was an ineffective president, I mean, I'm going to call him bad names. He was a wonderful human being. That's true. Ineffective president, wonderful human being. I mean, that guy literally pulled out the hammer and built people homes. Show me a president who do that. That's only him. So I agree with you. People have good and bad, all those things. I mean, they are. Yes, I completely agree. Daniel, thank you. Oh, member 5 months. Thank you, my friend. I love the membership, guys. I really appreciate it. Says, how do you feel about Elon joining the LP and rebranding as the American Liberty Party? Well, I don't know how you do that. You would have to. Could it be done? Yes. Wow, would it be challenging? It take a long time. You would literally have to go to try to get as many states as possible, state affiliates, somehow bribe them, which many could be bribed. I mean, some could be bribed, but the question is, many of them are also ideologues. So you'd have to bribe enough state affiliates to change their name, the affiliate name, to the American Liberty Party. That's years and millions of dollars, but could be done. He's got enough money. It could be done, and he's got time. It's years to do that. And then holding enough of the state affiliates while you're getting others do that, holding enough there so that they would have enough people who would go to the convention at the right time and then change the party's name at the convention. That is a massive task. I can't imagine. Oh, could it physically be done? Yes. Realistically, I don't know how many years that is. 10 years? I don't know, whatever. The amount of time and energy to do is not worth it. If he wants the LP, he should just join the LP, throw tons of money at it, get a good candidate that could use that money to make it powerful. And then he could call it in his marketing, the American Liberty Party, and just call it that so that people start calling it that. But the idea that to change Libertarian Party to American Liberty Party, the way to make that happen, the amount of time, money, and energy to do so, I don't think it's worth it. If you wanted to control Libertarian Party, just throw lots of money at it and then call it what you want. Know that it will take you at least 2 years to get whatever you want, right? To get your takeover, at least 2 years, if not more. If you want it for 2028, start this year or next year, right? Whatever, start immediately. Throw tons of money at it, and you can take it with money. It will work. There's enough people who would give in, and enough people who would show up and become candidates that would motivate people to show up, right? So if you had good libertarian candidates who would show up because they'd be funded, not because, when I say money, I don't mean bribing. There'd probably some of that, but I don't mean bribing. I mean actually supporting candidates, right? Right now, most people who run have no money, don't make any impact. Nobody cares. Why would you bother running libertarian, right? You can't do it, right? But if all of a sudden he's like, no, I'll start a PAC. And if you run for whatever, governor of New York, good idea, by the way, or governor of New Jersey, or mayor of a town, or whatever, I'll have a PAC that will throw $1 million at you in a PAC. You would have talented libertarians run, right? And if talented libertarians would run because they were backed, then you see the party get together, right? Because they get behind the candidates. That will take several cycles. That's what I'm saying. It takes years, several cycles before people go, oh my God, we've got good candidates who are funded, who are making impact, who are going on podcasts, because Elon Musk can then use his influence to get you on podcasts, right? So you want to get on some cool podcasts. Elon says, put him on a podcast. I don't want to. I'll sponsor your show for $1 million. Boom, on the podcast you go. So I don't necessarily mean direct bribes. I'm sure there'll be some of that because it's politics. But the cash being thrown around would get real candidates to show up, which means libertarians would be motivated, excited, and think they could win, and they start getting together. So, but renaming it, just call it that. In other words, as he talks, call it the American Libertarian Party if that's what he wants, right? He'll just call it that. And eventually the mainstream media will call it whatever he tells them to because he's going to bribe them. So they'll call it whatever he wants. We'll still be Libertarian Party, but everyone will call it the American Liberty Party. That will be, if Elon, if you happen to be watching, I hope you are, that will be my advice to you. That'd be my way of doing it. So yeah. Anyway, money is a big deal in politics for sure. Money's a big deal in the country. Absolutely. So yes. Anyway, let me keep going down. I forget. Look, let me do one more thing if I could. I know I talk about the advocates a lot, but we're talking about cash. And when you think about advocates, the first thing you always think about is the world's smallest political quiz. But here's what the advocates also have. They also have single issue surveys. Yes, they do. So when you go to the advocates, click up here, which is quizzes and apps, and go over to single issue surveys right here. Click on this button here when you're there. Remember, use the link that I'm telling you to use so that I get credit for this. It's important. It's free, but I get credit. So please use the link. There's a link in Rumble. There's a link on Sharpe YouTube. Click that link. Then go to single issue surveys and look at all the cool surveys they have. Doge, gun control, federal spending, national security. But take the one I'm asking you to take is on government debt, money, and monetary policy. Take that survey, that specific survey. Go to that one. Take that survey. When you take it, use the link that I told you to use that. Take that test. This test is very interesting. It talks about how you feel about a lot of different things. Here's one of them. Which of the following most closely aligns with your beliefs about central banking policy? Boom. Central banking should work for the benefit of the least advantaged society. Central banking policy should include complete transparency and allow for private currencies to compete with the US dollar. Central banking policy should focus on stability and keeping inflation low. This is the type of question that we want to hear about. This gets people talking. This gets you thinking. And when you are done taking this test, you know what I want you to do, right? Yeah, you're right. Take this test. When you're done, same thing at the end, click results. It'll ask you for your email address if you don't already have one. If you haven't done it already, it'll ask you for one. Put it in if you want. Doesn't need cool stuff, libertarians. Maybe once every couple of weeks. They're not that bad. I know I get the emails. Totally fine. Or click the X. You get it anyway. Screenshot it. Share it with the link I told you. Screenshot it. Share it. What'll happen? People will say, what is this? What's going on? How's this work? What's going on? That's what I want to happen. More and more conversations. More and more conversations. That's what I want to happen. Please do it. It's theadvocates.org. Check them out. Take it. When you're done, tag me if you want to. Tag me if you're on Twitter. Tag me if you're on whatever, YouTube, whatever you want. Facebook. Tag me if you want to. All good, guys. Thank you for that. I appreciate that help. It's making sure we make this happen. Ryan says, I don't trust Andrew Yang at all. He's a friend of mine. I can't say bad things about him. I actually like him. He's a friend of mine. I know. He lives here in New York with me. Yes. I had lunch with him a couple months ago. So, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. James says, if the American Party does start up, I hope they're able to set up a North Carolina affiliate so I can help incorporate them into the third party movement. I would love to have more of them. I would love to have more of them. John asks, how serious do you think Spaceman is about starting a third political party? Will the LP's nationwide ballot access be enough for him to consider supporting the LP instead? We are already asking him that. I hope so. I would rather him support us. That's my piece. I would rather him support us. I think it's the right answer. Look, if he's not, maybe he'll throw it at Yang, maybe, but I don't think so. He might. But I think, because unless they both all of a sudden like hate Trump now or something, maybe. But I think he'd rather throw it at us. That's what I think. So, yeah. Mike says, everyone forgets that Sudan got bad due to ISIS, who came from Afghan prisons after Biden ran away. Biden also abandoned 16,000 Americans in Sudan on May 2023. Rather than address this, media let it happen. Media didn't care. Mike, I agree with you. Media didn't care at all. Media let what was supposed to happen, Mike, and this stuff may come back, to be forward with you. It might. And the reason why I say it is, if Biden had just, after his third year, said, I'm done. I don't need to run again. I have slain the evil dragon known as Trump. Democrats, good luck. Have a primary and move on. The media was already set to whitewash his entire legacy, including this. They were set to whitewash it, right? He's basically was going to be the greatest Democrat ever, going to make a new face on Mount Rushmore. He was going to be the greatest statesman we ever knew in the world, history of the world. That was who he was going to be. But since he didn't do that, his legacy now is garbage. This may come back. I'm just saying, this stuff may come back. This was supposed to be whitewashed because he was supposed to do the right thing for Democrats' right thing. He was supposed to do the right thing. This is all supposed to be whitewashed. So he did nothing wrong. He was the greatest statesman of all time. He was the greatest statesman of all time. He made Bismarck look a chump. Sun Tzu, nothing. That's what was supposed to happen. But now that his legacy is garbage now, it might come back, Mike. Might come back. So I'm not saying it will, but it might. That's all I'm saying. It might come back. So John says, thank you for being a member, John. Have you ever trust tribalism? I do all the time. Township to township, county to county, state to state, and how democracy and republic coexist. Yes, I do. And this is when people often bring this up. They'll say, we're not a democracy, we're a republic. It's not 100% true. The country is a republic. But to your point, John, throughout the country, in local areas, we are direct democracies, depending upon where you are, depending on what system it is. They do coexist. We have democracy and republic, sometimes literally side by side. You're right. Sometimes within the same town, you are correct. Sometimes you do. And then sometimes townships, as your point, they overlap. They do sometimes, 100%. But the worst part is not only that, but of course they also fight each other. One of the toughest things we have in America, one of the hardest things in America is by state, we fight to get business. So we act like we're growing, but we're not growing. We're just moving business from state to state. So your point's valid. Also sometimes town to town. Very true. So yeah, people don't recognize that both of those things are true. Both of those are true. Ymir says, Larry for governor. Thank you. I appreciate that. Roger says, Larry, what is CiVL? Is it a YouTube alternative or an external? It's neither. It is like a cooler mix of Netflix and Daily Wire and TYT all combined. That's what it is. All of those combined. It's a mix. It is a place where you get people chatting back and forth and shows you would not get some anyplace else. That's what it is. I hope that makes sense. Liberty says, I miss when Larry was on the Kennedy show. Yes. He normally schooled the others. Yep, read him. That's true. That will be on the panel. Plus, Lisa Kennedy's libertarian. I love Lisa Kennedy. Love her. I love her more than I love Naomi Bracco. Please don't be mad, Naomi. I love you too. But I do love Kennedy more. And why? Why? because when I was getting my ass kicked in 2022, everybody else forgot my name. They all forgot my number. Larry who? Nobody knew who I was. All the people who were my friends, all of a sudden were my friends. But there was one person who was my friend. That was Lisa Kennedy. She let me on again and again and again. She supported me every single time, even when I was getting my ass kicked. I will never forget that. I will always be grateful. That's why I love her more than you, Naomi. Don't be mad at me, Naomi. I still love you. Just her more. That's all. So, yes, thank you for that. So love you, Naomi. So love you. That's all. Okay. All right. Let's see if I keep going here. All righty. John says, corporations are people. Why not persons? You're right, John, that the Supreme Court could make that decision. They could. Totally possible. Absolutely could. And that's an issue they're going to have to do at one point. Phil, over on Rumble, thank you for the rant. On episode 666, will you profile the 10 worst politicians? Not bad. Not bad. Okay. Let me think about that. That's not a bad idea. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. Yes. D over on CiVL says the cool kids are on CiVL. True. Absolutely true. Yes. Kay-John has a two-piecer for me. Thank you, Kay-John. And she actually is also a member. She says, I was sharing this show on X and saw a post from Elon today. By a factor of 2 to 1, you want a new political party and you shall have it. She goes on to say, when it comes to bankrupting our country with waste and graft, we live in a one-party system, not a democracy. Today, the American Party is formed to give you back your freedom. I hope it works. I hope it does. And I happen to be, a personal issue here for me because New York State has fusion voting, so I can run into multiple parties. So I'd love to have an American Party line. Elon and Naomi. Just saying, all of you. It's fine. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Endeavor says the Constitution remembers God 4 times. What are your thoughts on that? And the Creator, right? Not necessarily God, the Creator. So I do think that almost all of our founding fathers were deists, which means they believed in some form of deity or God. They weren't all Christians or different forms of Christians, but they were all that. So yeah, I think it's true. They all that. I'm not mad. I know some people don't like it because they talk about the separation of church and state. And I think you should separate church and state. I agree you should. I'm all a fan of that, particularly because churches are run by people. So, but I'm not mad that they were deists. Good. Fine. All good. No concerns whatsoever. I don't know. I'm not sure. Are you not? Am I supposed to, were you baiting me for something? I don't know if I was baited on that or not, but yeah. Phil says pigs became introduced to North America and they concentrated around the Potomac, in particular a swamp known as Washington, D.C. Nice. Kevin says, why did Sliwa and Duran run unopposed in the GOP mayoral and public advocate primaries? I'll tell you why. Because the New York City GOP totally dropped the ball. That's why. And if you're a New York City Republican, please don't be mad. It's your fault. They dropped the ball completely. They dropped the ball because they thought there's no way Mamdani can win. So it's just going to be Cuomo and who cares? And it's 6-1 Democrat Republican. So we're going to put up people who wants to take an L, who wants to lose. They dropped the ball completely. They didn't put up real candidates with real campaigns. And I know the argument is, well, they were waiting to see what happened to see other. That was insanely dumb. That was not the right answer at all. They should have thought something could have gone wrong, had a real candidate with a real campaign running from last year. They didn't. So they're not ready. I will not be surprised if Sliwa actually drops out of the race. I'm not joking. People are already pressuring me. I know. I heard, oh my God, I was upstate New York. And boy, did I hear some people not happy about Sliwa. Republicans. I was at several events. And there were Republicans who showed up like, why the hell is Sliwa doing? Why is he dropping out? We got to stop Mamdani. Yes, there are people who, the amount of Republicans upstate New York who were like, Eric Adams is my guy. I was like, what? Yes. So New York City GOP dropped the ball. They can be mad at me if they want to. They dropped the ball. That's the reason why. Yes. Endeavor says, I believe you can see my question. I'm ignoring your questions? Okay. For anyone here, Endeavor, you obviously knew. So I'm gonna pick on you for a little bit because you obviously knew. Anyone here who thinks I'm afraid of your questions, you better wake the fuck up. I'm afraid of none of your questions. I do an AMA every week. I've been doing this for years. None of you. There's not one of you out there who's gonna ask a question I can't or won't answer. So stop that shit. You're not that good. You're just not. You're not even close to that good. Not even close. I have been trolled by far worse than you. So please stop. Don't play yourself. Don't play yourself. You're not that good. None of your questions are that impressive or whatever you think they are. They're not. So keep asking because now you think you're super cool guy. I'll put you up on first and I'll embarrass you. I don't mind. Phil says, don't touch American chips. True. We get mad at that. Oh my God. We get mad at that. We definitely get mad at that. Absolutely. Yes. Endeavor says, I never super chat anyway. That's because you cheat. Don't be cheap. I super chat people. You super chat. You just cheat. That's all. All right, let's see here. Joel says she was on Stossel, right? I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm not sure. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I don't really know. What are you talking about? So, Patty says you need to watch pre-Columbian inhabitants and their descendants on PBS. You'll be amazed. Natives had larger cities than London and Paris at the time and were more civilized and advanced. Yes, though most of those Native Americans, though, were in Central America and Mexico area, Central America. Most of them were. Some were in South America. Most of the North American tribes were not as large as Europeans. Most of them were not. There were some that were larger, but most of them were. Central America had massive cities. You're right. 200,000 people. I mean, insane amounts. It's very true. They were very much that way. Yes. All righty. The TMB says, I hope Larry answers my question about whether he has a green or black thumb when it comes to gardening, if he has a favorite wild bird. I'm actually pretty good at gardening. I've saved a couple of plants that my other family members have not been good at doing. So I saved a couple of those. I'm not bad at gardening. My mom was very good and loved gardening very much, tremendously. I'm not bad at that at all. So yeah, I'm pretty good at that. I don't really like plants that much, but I have grown some of my own food here or there. Not that much, but I have. I'm pretty good at it. So yes. When it comes to birds, actually, I mean, I'm a city guy. So most of the birds I like are birds that I can hear singing in the mornings here in the city. And so, yeah, most of those are good. I like blue jays. Blue jays come around here sometimes. Once in a while, you get a blue jay around here, but most of the birds around here are pigeons and finches. Most are that. But I do happen to like blue jays. So I hope I answered your question. All righty. Let's see. Ryan says, the duopoly has failed America too many times. Yes, thank you for $2. I appreciate it. Yep. Ryan has $10. He says, if the GOP wants to see their future, if the GOP want to see their future with them mocking and dismissing everyone who opposes the BBB, then they need to look at the UK Tories. They had a big win and on the brink of extinction. Yeah, it's a very valid point. Look, you don't want to fall back on your laurels at all. You do not want to do that at all. And once you win, you still have to have results, right? People still want results no matter what. You can't just go, we won. Okay, great. Now what? It's a valid point. A valid point. Absolutely. So yes. All righty here. Patty says, so forget healthcare as a job in the future. Look for coffin making in funeral homes. Well, to be forward, funeral homes are always growing. That's true, sadly. And healthcare is going to be, you're right, it's going to be severely shut down because of AI. You're going to find individuals working with 3 or 4 AI assistants. So not as many. Absolutely not as many. I agree completely. Yeah, not as many at all. All righty. Oh my God. Matt says, oh my God, I'm sick of AI. I know. And Dever says, I agree about President Carter. I do too. I think he was a very good man. 100%. Yes, absolutely. Dave says separate but equal was the Southern states version of apartheid. True, but my point being that was agreed, Dave. I'm not saying it was a good thing at all, but I'm saying, why didn't you just go, no, separate, go to hell? They had to make the attempt at equal again because of our this is kind of to Bicote's idea that we had, these concepts that we had to try to pretend at least to care about. That's why they had separate but equal versus just separate. The hell with them. Let them have crap. Right now, that's what it ended up being. You're right. But then that's how they were able to fight and to end apartheid, because it wasn't equal. It was supposed to be equal. So, yeah, that's why I'm saying that. So, yeah. Anyway. All right, I'm keep going here. That's the lunatic libertarian. I'm sorry, that's not to me. Michael goes on to say, Libertarian Party would largely reject Elon for his crony capitalism. Yes, but, and here's the but, the party would, but that's what I'm saying. It's not going to be him just throwing dollars. He's going to support candidates. Candidates would not. And if any candidate if any candidate out there who wants to make impact would say, I'm not taking Elon's money because crony, you're an idiot candidate. Take their money and make some impact. Win your race and make some impact. Take the money. Take the money. Don't be stupid. Take the money. So yes, I think you're right. The party wouldn't, but would an individual candidate? I would hope so. I would hope so. Yes, 100%. So Phil says Elon Musk was suggesting Larry's model for targeting a few states. Not a bad idea. I think I'm right. Yes. Yes, I think I'm right. So, all righty. Daniel says, I only found out about Kennedy from Larry. Oh, that's nice. I'm glad. Yes, I'm glad. JG over on Rumble says, guest suggestion, Bitcoin expert. I had Mr. Bitcoin on before. What are you trying to, you mean like, maybe because you're talking about like using Bitcoin as like a specific thing, perhaps, maybe, I don't know. Roger, $2, like Netflix and host DW and TYT sounds like a wide YouTube comp. Maybe I could see it as a, maybe I could see that. Maybe it's like YouTube. Maybe I could see that. I'm going to go yes. I'm going to say yes. Yeah, there we go. All righty. Everybody says, I guess I'll be editing Larry's beliefs. I get spicy sometimes. I do. I'm sorry. I get spicy sometimes. I'm sorry. I'll stop. You guys are like yelling at me. I got to stop being spicy. I'll try not to. Once in a while I do. Yes. Mastermind Hour says, I disagree. I think home health care is going to be a booming industry. Maybe home health care, but home health care is very specific, right? It's very specific and very challenging, right? So maybe that's the right. Maybe. And then the question is, then do robots become a thing? I don't know. How long will that take for the robots to pop up? But maybe. I don't know, right? Because the issue is so many home healthcare workers are paid for by the government. So to Patty's point, if the government cuts, you get less home healthcare because the government's paying. So even though the need may boom, if the government runs it, the government doesn't care if it's a need or not. The government gives whatever the government gives, right? It's not the market. The market would give answers, but the government will stop it, right? So it may not work. So Liberty says, no, don't stop the spice. That's funny. Yeah, don't stop. I like that. Yes. Mastermind says, good luck getting I to wipe your ass and give you pills. No. That's going to be a thing. No, that eventually going to be a thing. Yes. What will happen is there will be specialized robots to wash you. Yes, that will be a thing, which will wipe your ass. That will happen. They already have physical robots now who can fold clothes. I'm not joking. And they're like humanoid robots who can fold clothes. So there will eventually be robots who can wash you and wipe your ass. That will be a thing at one point. Yes, that will be a thing. At one point, that will be, I don't know, is that next year, 10 years, 5 years? But that will be a thing at one point. So no, not good luck. It's going to happen. And here's going to be your answer. This is again to Patty's point. They're going to say, okay, government has to cut this down. So you have a choice, Mrs. Jones, Mr. Jones. You can have no home healthcare worker, no healthcare worker, or you can have robot. That's what you're getting. Robot's a whole lot cheaper. And it can be there 24/7. So Mastermind Hour, I'm telling you, that is going to be happening. Yes, that is going to be happening. Yes. So, all righty. Phil says, there's a lot of times I've only seen words written and not spoken. There's a bridge here named after Revolutionary War hero, Thaddeus Kosciuszko. I didn't know how to pronounce it. Kosciuszko. They have a bridge here in Queens. Oh, is it Brooklyn? 1 and a 2. Yeah, 1 and a 2. Queens or Brooklyn. Yeah. So Kosciuszko, I believe is how it's pronounced. There is a Polish-American museum here in, is it Queens or Nassau County? I forgot when it was. A Polish-American museum here. I went to it, and they pronounced it Kosciuszko. So that's how I think it is pronounced, because that's how they pronounced it. So yeah. All righty. Daniel says, will the robots get their finger broken through the TP and get a piece of A? Maybe. I mean, I don't know. They can fold clothes, so I guess they got to be nice or whatever. Maybe they'll figure it out one or the other. That might be kind of nasty. Is it going to be a lawsuit? I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. Phil says, can we petition for you in a party? You mean Constitution or conservative primary in New York? Yes, I think we can. The reality of it is, if I were to run next year, yes, you could petition. You could petition me to run in the Republican, in the Constitution. But the problem is, if I'm not, I'm conservative, but I'm pretty sure that if I'm not, I got to check the rules on this. There's different rules on whether I'm a member of their party or not. I think they can stop me unless they have to give me a Wilson Pakula. Let me check on that one, Phil. Let me check on that one. It's not a bad, it's a good question. I got to check on it. Thank you for $2, my friend. I appreciate it. Yeah, I have to check on that one. I do. Yeah. Let me see if yeah. All right. Guys, I ask you all the time to help out, and I ask you to help out by becoming a member. I know I do. Membership is another way for us to make this much better if we can. Click on that YouTube membership, $49 per month. Click that join button if you can. If you can pick up a couple of freebies that pop up, people giving them out, grab them if you can. Membership tells YouTube that people are serious. Membership tells YouTube that people want to be part of this, and it shows to more people to get more members. Yes, so membership does help. If you can do so, please do that. If you want to do it on Rumble, that works also. If you want to follow me on Rumble, also helps every bit. You're going to Rumble, you can only do it during the live, but if you're on YouTube, you can do it anytime you want. Go to YouTube, Sharpe Way YouTube, click that join button to become a member. It helps tremendously if you can. Absolutely. Roger says, run as an indie, run as an indie. Yeah, I can do it, whatever. So sure. Absolutely. Yeah. So Dave says, Larry, wait until robots become self-aware and determines that humans are no longer necessary and decide to have a robot revolt. Literally going to happen one day. Literally going to happen one day. Absolutely going to happen one day. 100%. I could definitely see that. Yeah, 100%. I can see that. So guys, I want to ask you, as I always do, last thing I'm going to ask you for tonight, last thing I will, remember something that the AI loves, that, and the algo loves, after the show, that you comment after the live. When the show's over, they love when you put a comment down after the live. Here's what I'm going to ask you to comment on. Just tell me what we should be proud of as Americans. That's it. That's not that. What are we proud of as Americans? What should we be proud of as Americans? If you could let me know what you think about that, put it in the comments. I will respond to the best of my ability as fast as I can. Maybe tomorrow I'll have some time to do some more comments if I can. Remember also, if this is not live, if you're watching it, it's not live anymore. You're not watching it live anymore. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to, you're going to see 2 videos pop up right here. Please click on one of them and watch for at least 8 minutes. The algo loves that too. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go, and I will see you all very soon.